Hello, this is Prize Fighter, and welcome to Hand of Fate. So, I'm not going to do a series on this, I don't think, unless you guys want it, but this is one of my favorite games of the last year and a half, couple of years, I guess. Really interesting concept, and best way I can explain it is to just show you. So, I'm going to play through like the beginning section, maybe a couple, and just kind of give you an idea of what this is like. If you like what this looks like, go check it out. I think it's Defiant Games. I'll put it in the description. But this is absolutely a fantastic game, and I think the sequel's coming out soon if it hasn't already. So let's take a look.
One more for the game. Come, sit. You have passed the 13 gates. And you come to my table to play the game of life and death. Your stake is wagered. I refuse none who come here. Yet, I say, turn back. The game begins. One lives and one dies. Let us see what you are made of. Here is the first member of my court, the Jack of Dust. 12 in all must fall before you may challenge me. Let the cards fall where they may. We begin.
Okay, so this game is what you would call a roguelike in a sense. Roguelike being a reference back to the old game Rogue, where essentially you play through the game as a character and you get as far as you can, and when you die, you start over. But you carry over upgrades and whatnot from the previous rounds. The difference in this is that you can actually effectively beat it. Well, that's not entirely uncommon, but when you beat it, you unlock cards that affect the next game or the next rounds or any round after that you can add to the decks. So the idea is your deck consists of a bunch of events, enemies, and all sorts of different things that could just mess you up, benefit you, shops, stuff like that. And so you progress through the cards. It's not always as basic as this. Sometimes there's
Take your
branching.
time if you like. I've waited long enough.
Shush. Branching paths and stuff, but you're trying to get to the end of each level of what you would call a dungeon. And so we'll get started. You move, and you flip the card.
I was never a fan of illusion or pretense. Here, I'll make an exception.
And so this is an event. So it gives you a prompt or something, and then you can respond accordingly. So here it says, whilst enjoying your evening meal at the local tavern, a strange old man takes a seat next to yours. He taps your shoulder quite painfully with a wooden staff to get your attention, and you notice that he appears to be a goblin, poorly disguised as a human. You can see from that terrible mustache. His wizened face grins at you with a hint of madness. My name is Master Lionel. If you give me what I need, boy, I will conjure up your heart's desires with this wizarding wand of my own creation. And so you have options. Currently, I don't have any gold, or at least not enough to give him. I have 10, you can see in the corner there. Ask him what he needs and ignore the goblin. I'm going to ask him what he needs. I need to help you. Mr. Lionel taps his staff on the ground and a shield materializes at your feet. There you go, old bean. He smiles a warm grin that reveals all of his chipped and yellow teeth. Your face reminds me of my son. I haven't met you before, have I? And I draw an equipment card. So there's a separate pile for equipment cards that I'll draw from. This gives me a shield. Let's let's see, shields, it has reflect. Shields with its trait allows heroes to reflect projectiles back to the attacker. This must be performed with a precise timing as the projectile draws near. And counter. Weapons with this trait allow the hero to counter their foes' attacks, look for the green attack indicators above foes, blah blah blah. Okay.
You can now reflect
So I
your
have a shield.
opponent's ranged attacks using your shield. Make good use of this skill if you wish to survive.
Let's see, then before you can stop him with inhuman speed, he snatches a pickled onion off your plate and sprints out the tavern door. Just wanted some food. Okay, I should say this. If you look in the bottom left-hand corner there, you have your gold, your food, and your health. Health is self-explanatory. Gold is also pretty self-explanatory. But food, every time you move a card, you lose a food. If you have no food to lose, you lose, I believe it's 10 health. So we'll move forward here. Twisted Canyon.
That first moment, that glinting weapon, the call to action, to adventure.
Let's see.
Truly, there is nothing like it.
You see a weapon glinting in the sunlight lying next to a skeleton at the bottom of the canyon. So here I can either choose to leave it or climb down. For the sake of showing you what it is, I'll climb down. I usually do that anyway.
Choose from these options.
Awesome. Okay, so what happens there is you have success and fails. You just have to catch them. You can watch how they go in and then how they come out and actually track the cards if you can spot it well. Let's see, so I get to draw an equipment card. And now I have a better sword. Yeah, just slightly better. You start off with some pretty bad equipment.
A moment to savor. That will make you much more
The
effective.
Maiden. One day in a shady forest you encounter an elf maiden. She stops to greet you. I am Marith of the Forest Folk. My people have long helped the mortals of this realm. What boon would you ask of me? And so I get a choice here. And as we're currently lowest on gold, I'll take some gold. Marith seems surprised. It is unlike an adventurer to beg for coin, but very well. If that is your wish, the dealer draws you 3 gold gain cards. So when you gain like this, it also draws from gold piles and stuff like that. You have a bunch of different piles that you really don't have to worry about, short of drawing them. So I'll get 20,
I'm sure you are grateful for
15,
that.
and 25. Now you can use those for certain events and also in shops that show up to buy magical items, heal curses that you can get while you play, get blessings, and various other equipment. See, the greatest of magical artifacts were forged long ago and have only limited uses before their power is spent. Use them wisely and they may guide you to victory. Farewell, mortal. And then this would be the end of this level of the dungeon.
Bound once more, seeking the
We've
heart of
discovered
it
the
all.
exit to this area. Take the stairs. No reason to turn back at this point. In some cases, you might if you want to uncover some cards that you missed.
You are on the final floor of our simple map. Your opponent waits here for you.
A winding trail.
Find him. If you defeat me, well, it is early to be talking about victories and losses. Let us see what you're made of.
I'm explaining. Suddenly, a tree falls across your path, blocking the way ahead. The dealer draws you 1 monster card. Self-explanatory. See, weapons bristle from the trees around you. The wielder's face is obscured by the undergrowth. Give us all your gold or die. So I can give them my gold, as if, and attack the cowardly band for daring to threaten you. And we're going to attack. Attack the cowardly band for daring to threaten you. You shout a battle cry and raise your weapon. Battle begins. Okay, so as you can see here, battles take place in real time. The equipment that you've gained throughout your travel in that particular dungeon outfits you for that battle. And as you saw, my cards, swept down over the character and equipped him. Every time you start a new round or a new playthrough, you'll So you unlock like different levels, and you basically play through set challenges. But each time you restart, you start afresh, and you gain new equipment, and you can unlock new equipment cards and whatnot by playing and completing floors or challenges or story segments, whatever you want to call them. So yeah, here we'll just jump into combat, and I'll let you take a look.
You can now counter your opponent's attacks. Hit the counter button when you see the flashing indicator.
So yeah, combat's pretty basic. Think of a slightly less responsive, like Arkham City kind of feel that you've played like that in games. Okay, and for that I get 3 gain cards. So I get to draw an equipment. So I get an axe that is better than the current weapon.
A peasant's weapon, but effective nonetheless.
Peasant my butt.
Really? Is that what you're going to do?
3 food cards. I won't need them. 3 more. Yeah, give and you take, whatever. Okay, so I move to another area. And this would be the final boss.
You have reached my first champion.
And
A
you
good
see the
man
little
driven
goat
to
symbol?
madness by a war that took all
Give me
from
just a
him.
moment.
Wife and child, kith and kin. From such dark and brittle iron I forge my tools. Now we see your metal.
Alright, so you see the little gold symbol on the bottom of that card? Every time you complete a card that has that on it, it unlocks more cards for you to use in further games, or more cards that can come up in further games. And you receive all those at the
This
end
token
of the
will unlock more
specific
cards
level.
if you can defeat this encounter.
Those would be the coins I could, or the tokens that unlock cards that I could unlock. You see floating there. Now generally I don't think this fight's that hard. It adds extra enemies to kind of make it more difficult, but as you go on, these actually get really frustrating at some point. But it's fun, if that even makes sense.
Some enemy attacks cannot be blocked or countered. Get out of the way or stop them with your own counterattack.
Alright, so yeah, when it's red, you can't block them or fight. You just have to dodge. Not sure why it's so blurry. So yeah, the dust enemies are your basic banded, like human enemies, but then you have like rats and giant lizard creatures and skeletons and all sorts of different things. It's not like you kill me. You know, your typical fantasy tropes.
Down
Let's
into the
see.
worms with him. Perhaps there is peace.
So yeah, this is the that's the board where you like each of those extra cards you saw in that open
We are
board
only at the start of our road.
is a different level.
You will face 11 more opponents who will test your strength, your memories, and your resolve. Few fall at the first hurdle. None reach the last.
Here's unlocking
We have
cards.
wagered, and you have won. You may claim your rewards, yet I will also claim mine. As you improve, so do I. Balance
see.
must be retained.
New equipment cards. And a new event.
Shall we deal again?
So yeah, I'll just kind of show you
good.
here.
Now you understand the basics, we can begin in earnest.
So you'll
Your hero is returned to his beginning
gonna
item.
let me talk?
Our decks are reset. Welcome to the cabinet, home of the members of my court.
Thank you. So you have endless mode, which you unlock eventually, which is basically just you go through floor after floor after floor to see how far you can get before you die. And then story mode, which opens up this cabinet and unlocks. So here's the Jack of Skulls, and that would be my next deck. So you select it.
Face my undead army. Meet the Jack of Skulls.
Go to Deck Builder, and it lets you pick a recommended, or let it recommend your equipment encounter decks. For now, I'm going to hit no. So basically, I can go in and let's see. This is new. It's wild cards. I'm not going to get into those right now, mainly because I've not really dealt with them. It's a DLC I haven't really touched. But generally speaking, you have your equipment cards that you can add. Here are the ones that you currently have in the deck. Here are the ones you can add to it. And you can mix and match those. Though every deck, for at least events, will have cards that you have to leave in, I believe. Oh, you know what? I told you wrong. The bottom row are the cards that are already in the deck, and the top row are the ones you can add. And so anything with a lock on the top has to be used in that deck. You can't switch it out. So you can add in new ones, and I have to for this one. And the same for these. You can add in new equipment. I need to add in 2 more, so we'll just throw in that and that. And you can mix and match to kind of give yourself the best options for equipment and the better events over the not so great events and different things like that. But then you would play through, defeat that boss, and move on to the next round. The end of which being the top of the top and gives you some extra rewards and whatnot. I say the end of which, the end of each row. I'm not going to play another round right now. I will say you only saw a tiny portion of what you can actually encounter. One of my favorite things about the game are the trap rooms. So when those come up, it's just a maze of traps that you have to navigate to get to a chest at the end, and they get crazy. But yeah, you should definitely check out this game. It's, like I said, one of my favorite the last couple of years, and it's really worth your time, and I don't think it's that expensive. Not to mention, I believe it's also out on Xbox One and PS4. So if you have either of those and you want to test this out, absolutely do so. This company needs support. They're fantastic. And works great with the controller. But yeah, this has been Hand of Fate, and I appreciate your time. Have a good night.